Hello, good morning or good afternoon for you. Um, it's 10 o'clock over here. I'm running a little late, sorry. But it was so noisy here outside, and I could have closed the door, obviously, but sometimes these alarms go off and go off for hours. So, anyway, today I want to continue with actually the last session of from vision to creation of vision. And I was yesterday talking to a friend and a person who I had been following for a while, and she wants me to join her in her work online. And we were talking about the full yes, the commitment, and what it is that people are not committed to make the next steps actually in realizing their dreams. What I've been calling here realizing the vision. So my big question to you now is, after these 4 days of diving deep into your vision and your talents that are related to that vision, and the skills you might still lack or believe you're lacking, my question to you will be now, why hasn't your vision been realized yet? So why is it not happening? And I would advise you to write this one down on a big piece of paper and put it somewhere where you see it daily. Because this is a question you might easily skip with a lot of excuses. But you have to answer this question: why hasn't it happened yet in your life? If it's so felt as a heart desire, then what is more important to hold you in a state that you less desire? Because that's actually then the opposite of it. So I assume that your vision and your heartfelt desire feels so amazing and exciting, and it will be so great to integrate that into your life, that you should have done it years ago. And many people who are opening up to higher level of consciousness are often more stuck in this question than people who are naturally just born with an inner drive to be successful. So they never had this journey of looking inside themselves, and before that they never really had even a journey of settle for less, because they just have this inner drive to be successful. And so what is it in them that drives them, and what is it that they won't stop and do anything they need to become successful? And then success is, of course, in our talk about vision, not the important factor, but this inner drive to get something you really want is the same. Of something you really want to see happening is the same. For them, it's success, and it might be ego-driven or not. But they do have this drive to realize something they really desire to have. And so coming from a higher conscious level and being aware of your lack beliefs and the things you are not so secure about or confident about often holds you back, and that's exactly what stops you from moving forward. So this is nothing to do so much with the real spiritual journey, this realization, manifestation of your vision. This has really got to do with the fact that you want to sacrifice anything actually to get something happen that feels better than where you are today. And what the difference is between people who have this inner drive, perhaps, and the journey you're in now, is that you can tap from a power within you, an inner power within you, an empowerment within you that is in this world. So you surpass actually the fact that you need to be confident about something, because there is a deeper knowing inside that this is the best thing for you to do. And if you align with yourself frequently, and if you amplify that alignment, like we've shared about many times in the first weeks about this alignment with presence, alignment with your inner self, then if that's so strong, then this natural desire to manifest something that feels good will be there. No matter what the lack beliefs are, the desire is bigger than avoiding the lack beliefs. But it takes a yes. It takes a full yes to say, okay, I'm now ready to do this. I'm ready to step up, and even if it's a small step first, you just need a full yes there. You need actually a full yes to yourself. I'm no longer withholding myself for something I really want. And I can see it happening. There's nothing outside of me that's preventing it. And I can be in full control of the process. In the sense of I know I can make this happen if I put time and effort to it. And overcome, of course, my lack beliefs. And then we have the challenge of the linear time. Because once we say a full yes to something, we actually want to see it happening the next minute. We actually are not so patient as human beings. Because once we say a full yes, we already overcome this hurdle of this rising fear within us of all these insecurities that come up, or the chance of failing is coming up. And so you have to leave your secure space where you are now. So then once we've said yes, we want to see it happening. That's a logical expectation, because I've done so much on my side. Now please show me that it's really happening now. And that unfortunately might not be the case, because it still needs time and effort. And that's the big difference with someone who has this natural inner drive since he was young to make something happening, become successful, or make sure his life is comfortable. They don't have this. They didn't have to take this big hurdle of overcoming themselves. They just did it. They just went for their goal step by step, and they just did it. They just pursued and followed up every moment in their life. And that drive is often not seen with many. It's more the case that we as humans hold ourselves back and are okay with actually how life is happening. Which is fascinating in itself as you think about it. Why will we be okay with something which is okay enough, and we don't want to go for the thing that we really want? Despite all the lack beliefs, despite the insecurities, the fact that you are okay with something which is less okay actually for you, which you know is less okay, which you are aware of, whether you've done this journey or not, you were aware of things in your life that were not okay. So why do we settle for less? When we only have this one lifetime where things can happen. And even if you believe in second or third and more lives in life, or in eternity you have more lives, then still, why don't make the best out of this one? So why is it we settle for less? The only answer I can come up with is the fear that comes up of failure, the fear that you won't get what you actually want, so you settle for less. So there must be a fear underneath it that you don't want to face, or afraid it will show up so bigly, in big time, that, or you might fear that you lose something you have now, which is often an assumption, that you just don't want to go forth with your life and get the max out of it. So the question again is, why hasn't it happened yet? Why is this heartfelt desire that you probably were aware of in some shape or form, or at least the qualities you were aware of before? Why is that not happened yet? And I think that, at least if I look back at my journey, before 2012, so before this whole awakening experience happened, I did settle for less, simply because I couldn't sense into the fact that it could be different somehow. It was really like, it's hard to explain how, because it's so subtle. There was always this feeling like there's more within me that I'm not showing. But it was not so related to being more happy or something like that. So I was always like lacking the fact that I couldn't show myself in my full potential, which was nagging me, which was really pulling me down. Even the fact that I knew that I wasn't showing my full potential was already pulling me down. But I never really related with this sense of freedom, this sense of liberation, this sense of empowerment somehow. So for me, that was for me, there was this perhaps this unknowing that, or not knowing how, perhaps even to move forward. So I did little steps, and I tried many different angles, and somehow it never felt right. But I wasn't really trying into one direction. It wasn't aligned to one vision, because I wasn't really aware of that vision. But I was aware that something was wrong. Wrong in the sense that something was out of balance in my life. So if for you, even after these 4 sessions, your vision is still not clear, then my question of why is it not happening kind of gets you really frustrated, I guess, because, well, I don't know why it's not happening, because I don't know what should be happening. Other than I want to be more happy or more relaxed, or I want to get rid of some lack beliefs that you might know by now. You will know by now. But you don't know what's the next step towards your vision. So for me, it was really about this showing my full potential. I knew I was only showing like 40% of it. And I was often told it was because of I want to be this perfectionist, so I was never satisfied with something less. But that was not it. That was absolutely sure not it. I was just doing something which didn't really satisfy me. And I held myself kept in an environment where I couldn't share myself, because people weren't open to that, and I wasn't comfortable enough to do it. So it was this dynamic that was really negative for me. But obviously I was creating that dynamic myself, so no one to blame here other than myself. So perhaps for you, if you're really still unsure about what your vision is, then perhaps it's easier. It's another way to look at it is if you're really showing your full potential. Are you really? You have to be really honest with yourself here. Is there something within you that you know is there, a quality you can share, but you're not able to share? Because if is that something which is not shown daily, then that there really is costing energy. So this might be another way, and I'm actually just coming up with it while I'm talking here in this session. So I guess that's also why this version of a test program is so helpful for myself, because I keep learning how actually the processes are at a deeper level. I keep finding out while I'm going through these 99 days how it actually works, how actually mastering the art of living is working on the little details. So but it also might be good that this comes up now and not at day one, when like 4 days ago when I was talking about the first session on visioning. Because you might need this frustration to like, oh my gosh, she's talking about 4 days about this visioning and I can't really think of any vision for myself. What's wrong with me? And like I said many times before, friction helps in order for you to change. You need some kind of frustration to, okay, I'm so fed up with this. I want to know how I can change this. And then this might help. Of just looking at what's lacking in showing yourself in your full potential. And with full potential, I mean everything. Like if you can share enough love you have within yourself to others, if you find ways to do that, if you can share your ability to see the best in others, in a way that it's also recognized with you, because that's the other side of showing your potential. You need a feedback. Even without words, that someone else is help with it. We still need this interaction. That other people are helped. This is not like a confirmation of your confidence or your skills, but it's just this exchange of energy that needs to be there in order for energy to flow. So you give something of yourself, and then you receive an energetic confirmation back, and that excites you again. And then you go on to the next person or next phase, and then you share more of yourself and you receive more energy back, and that's actually how things are moving. Otherwise we all become still waters, and even if the still pure light and with lots of in it and everything is okay, if it's still water, after a while the water gets dirty and not so healthy anymore, because it has to flow. And that's for me the same with why we love to be in interaction with other beings. Also from this deep level of already knowing you are connected to others, you still want to have this dynamic, this interaction. At least in this paradigm where we're living in. I think it will eventually change. And then and soon, and many people are talking about this new paradigm, soon the dynamics will be very different if we fully are connected to all and don't act as separate human beings any longer. But most of us are still acting from this place of feeling separated. Even how conscious I am or you are by now or now, there's always this base of feeling separated somewhere inside you, even if it's very tiny. But as long as there's still friction within you, it's coming from separation. Because if there was no separation anymore, if everything was united and one, then there would be no I in the identified I. There would be no well, there will be an I, but you will be so completely disattached to that I that it just doesn't really matter what's happening. Everything is fine. Everything is all perfect. And we will be in a very different dynamic because we would just be okay with everything that is. We won't have this drive we have now to improve life and to change things in this world, because the contrast with things that are not so nice in this world is still huge. So we can't deny that, the fact that we still live in a world that is very disbalanced and unequal at many different levels, and very fearful as well. So this dynamic of, in this current paradigm where we come from separation, and from this dynamic, when we want to create our vision and realize our vision, we're also still working with the dynamics of this current paradigm, which is a part of that one. And the biggest one is the fact that we feel separated. So we want to improve something for ourselves as well as for others. But it gets more into in the bridging phase towards the next paradigm, where the self, the ego self, like taking care of yourself first at the cost of others, is fading away. So we are willing to give first before we receive back, and that's the first new dynamic which is showing up now. So you first give and then you receive back. And I think that soon will be the new way in doing business as well. It's like, and you already see that online, because so many people are free sharing their insights, or all the videos you can see nowadays, all the knowledge that's shared online. It's all like free giving. And then they will receive back, because there's, of course, some sort of business model behind it. But lots of us consume freely now, and which is fine. It's just a new way of doing business. And the internet provides that possibility. So if you have a vision that's also linked to reaching many people, whether you want to do it, your new work in an offline way, so like in a normal, or nothing has to do with online work, with really earning money online. If you want to do the work offline, you still might need the online world to connect to people and to create your network, like through Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And in that arena, you need to give a lot for free first, in order for people to believe that you have to share something they want to buy from you. And that's obviously different for if you have a regular job, and you go to office every day, and your work is not related directly with the online world. But for entrepreneurs nowadays, the online world is the first one to share ourselves. Yeah, so back to the question, why is it not happening yet, or why hasn't it happened yet, your vision? If you answer that question and be very honest, what comes up first? Is it the money theme? Is it the lack belief that you're not capable of doing that, of pulling that off? Is it the fear of failure? Is it the fact that you don't really know it yet, so you don't move? So you do have a kind of idea of a vision, but it's so vague you can't really move forward. then just write this down. Just really sit with this question and feel contemplate on it and feel what comes up. Because what comes up is very valuable to make decisions to move forward. Because then you have the questions again, which I shared earlier, the inquiry questions about, okay, so what's the worst thing that can happen then if you do step forward? And how would someone else look at you and your vision? And how would they perceive it? How would they say if you are capable of pulling it off or not? Probably most of the people around you would say, oh yes, it's exactly you. You must do that. You must go for it. I can't imagine that you haven't done it yet. You probably get some sort of reaction there. Because if the vision is really aligned with you, then everybody around you has already seen it, that it's perfect for you. And you're the only one who's not believing it yet. So, yeah. I don't know. Somehow this session went very different from what I expected actually before. But I hope it helps. Perhaps it's just a different way of looking at visions and things that come up. And the dynamics underneath, how things are working in the new field. And we all are, whether we are aware of these new dynamics and these new paradigms, that doesn't really matter. Well, we don't really have to know the details about them. I can share a session on the new paradigms, and most likely will soon. This is quite fascinating, as I've been involved in all those new ways of thinking for 3 years, 2 years actually. Yeah. But the most important thing, it's about giving before receiving. That's one thing I want to give you. It really is putting yourself out there somehow and sharing yourself in some sort of way, even by just talking about your vision a lot, sharing it with others, like I really would love to see this happening for me so I can help others. And then share your ideas about it and just receive information back, because that's one thing that happens when you share a lot, like I'm sharing with you in these 99 days. I get feedback from you, I get feedback even from myself. Contemplating on how it goes and what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. It's also a form of feedback to myself. And that's so valuable information. So we can't think of the whole plan before. We can't figure out everything. This is not about 5 years strategic planning in the old days. That's no longer working. We really have to take the first step and just see what happens. It's like I said yesterday, it's not a straight line. It goes like this. Till you're on the top of the mountain where your vision is actually already standing there for you in its quality, that what you would like to embody in yourself. And then it's just kind of trial and error in a very positive way, because it will give you energy for sure. It will give you energy. And the fallbacks will get less as soon as you have proof of something that really works for you. You're excited about trying the next thing, and it gets less scary. So yeah, well, thank you for today, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.